keep it rolling.
Got it.
Now, here's what I'm going to throw at you. I'm going to throw the two Chris's some set of questions to focus on, things that we commonly get the answers to at this location. The only thing I'll ask of everybody is you do not ask questions about Eliza's children. There's a tragedy there, and if we poke the bear, all activity stops, including our little 4.4s that we're getting on the EMF meter. So with yours, Chris, I'm going to throw two sets of questions at you, just because we're only using 2 spare boxes tonight. The mansion, unless you can see it, is not here anymore. So you're going to ask what happened to it. And if you get the what happened to it, then you can ask for the date of when that happened. Obviously, it's some kind of tragedy. So what happened? When did that happen? I'm looking for numbers. Secondly, you can go after Eliza's, like, the marriage questions, like how old she was, how old Charles was, or how long they were married. We've gotten all of those answers here in the past. So, Chris, your questions are going to focus on her death. So she's pretty open about talking about it, as long as you're respectful back, to start off with, I guess. So the 4 major things that we get out of her: how she died, how old she was when she died, where she's buried, and what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. Okay. So again, if you guys go rogue with your questions, the only thing I ask, no children, be respectful. So we are going to spread out, and I'm going to kind of like do round robins. There's only 4 of you here, so that means I'll probably be able to do 2, possibly 3, just to kind of see what's going on. This is one of the most active spaces I've ever been in. I know it sounds stupid because you're in a parking lot, but again, it's about what used to be here. So let's do this. Let's spread out. I'm going to write down 4.4. Any other numbers that I need to know about?
Yeah, that was hilarious.
All right, perfect.
Start talking about Eliza. It's like,
Sarah, you ever like want to jump in and help him? I do have earbuds where you guys can actually share, like, if you wanted to. It's just not going to be the sound quality like what he has now out of the actual headphones.
Okay.
Being a filmographer isn't always the most exciting job because it's a waiting game to kind of see what's popping up.
And reflection will make it go off, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Everything pretty much makes it go off.
Okay.
So how do we get some points of interest just so you kind of know like what I would... a couple of things I already told you. Shadows will make it go off because it's absence of light, so it looks like it's in front of something else. So your shadow on the ground is not person laying on the ground.
Okay.
It's your shadow.
Okay.
Second thing, anything with leaves in it. So trees, bushes, all leaves are in front of another thing. Right?
Okay.
So that's hard to kind of go through as well.
Okay.
So I know that there's always going to be trees around, but again, if somebody looks like they're swinging from a tree, they're not. Just kind of, and ghosts are relatively in the same height as we are now.
Okay.
So if you see like a 40-foot tall ghost because it's giving you the shape of the Five Church restaurant over there, it's obviously not a ghost that's 40-foot tall.
Yeah.
Like that's hovering above us.
Okay.
But
Okay.
you'll see as we kind of go through things.
Got it.
But yeah, have fun with it.
Let's walk around.
Do you want to ask questions?
Supposed to ask about her death? No. Her death?
What? So why don't you ask if anybody's here, leading questions?
Is anybody here with us right now? This is a really pretty lot where your house was. How did you die? I was told to ask who was a pallbearer at your funeral.
Keep asking questions.
What did you plant here? I heard you got some seeds sent from your dad and that you planted something. What was that? Do you have anything that you want to tell us? I'd love to hear from you. We're here just to learn more about you and to hear your story. It'd be really cool if you showed yourself on this camera. That's a tree. Do you want my husband to ask you some questions? I bet you your house was beautiful. That's a tree. That's a car.
Hearing anything out of there? Remember, it's all the silly things.
No, I'm the wrong person for this.
Do you want to switch?
No, I just...
And you guys can feel free to switch if you want.
It's hard to separate,
It's not easy.
like, actual music from...
And if you hear the song lyric, that might be a message too. Think of that thing as kind of like Bumblebee from Transformers. So that's the easiest way to explain it. Hopefully they're going to give you some kind of message using the radio channel. Don't always look for the crap that they show you on TV on the white noise. A lot of people try to do that. Anything nuts on your camera?
No, just shadows,
My other
cars.
two cameras are pretty small, so
Yeah.
I don't call those real-time cameras. We put this one on an iPad so we can have more real-time moments. The other ones get uploaded to YouTube as well, so that way I can review them. But it also gives you guys an opportunity to watch them on your TV. So that's another reason why I call that the real-time camera. So when I have smaller groups, I like for it to be a little bit more real-time. Because the other one's a thermal, it's on a cell phone, and then the other one is it's an altered GoPro to see infrared lighting. And I have like an infrared torch. So, but again, on a GoPro, it can be difficult in real time. So putting it on a screen like this, that's the one I like to use when I have smaller groups.
That makes sense.
And the thermal, I'm getting ready to move that over to an iPad as well because it is a clear camera that attaches. So I have it on a cell phone now, and it works out great. It's small and rugged, but at the same time, it's not always real time.
Clear can be hard to look at.
It is, but that's why I'm here. It's not that I'm trained in FLIR. I've just studied the damn color scheme enough to know when something's legit or not. So. She got all the way up to an 88, by the way.
Wow.
Yep. So that's over what your TV puts out.
That's crazy. Alright. Questions? Just ask basic stuff.
What time of day is it right now? Is this where your garden was? What did you grow here?
It's the spirit of something.
Spirit of what? Is that you back there, or is that
John.
John?
That's what I said.
Who would John be? Who's John?
Who's John?
Yeah.
That would be Big John that we just left.
Okay.
So,
He just said John.
you actually heard the name John? I take it?
Yeah. And I can't tell if this is from the parking lot back there or if this is something on here.
No, try moving around in the same place.
What are you looking at?
Like,
It is picking up the points of the windows and
Okay.
trying to make it into
Yeah.
something else.
okay.
But with her high ratings, we're actually going to probably call it. Wow,
Okay.
that was a weird one, by the way.
It's, I mean,
It almost looked like they were walking this way. Like they were almost like in this stance. Just for a split second.
see how it's hitting that dot right there around the window?
Yeah.
It's looking for patterns.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's... Yeah, see how
That's
big
the
that is?
trees, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely time to call it. 127, 109. Let's head back to anything above a 7.
Okay.
Just because we have the lamppost around us, so it's going to kind of spit off a few things. Chris, I know we were kind of chatting. Did you hear anything along the way? No. Nothing at all? Were you listening?
trying to.
Okay. Some people are like, oh, I didn't know I was supposed to listen.
He hangs back. I have a little Achilles tendon issues, so he hangs back with me. So
I got
he really, honestly, did not hear you. We were a little further back.
I'm walking too
No,
fast.
you're good.
So I was just telling Chris, like, I'm actually retiring. This is the space I'm retiring this year. So this one will be getting phased out more and more as November, December move on. Just because every ghost tour comes down here, and again, I don't like to do what they're doing. So I'm not surprised that there's nobody else down here at the same time we are, but it's also Tuesday. So Saturday, yeah, there will probably be like 5 tours down here, and we're allowed to go to 20 people. So imagine, let's say 4 other tours down here. They're maxed
lot
out,
of people.
80 people plus my 10 to 12. You know, it gets to be a lot. So, but I do, again, he said it best. This is the most picturesque place we have in Charleston. So if you're a picture taker, like, this is the place to be. So Sarah, on your end, if another tour is going to come through here, or even passers-by, like the gentleman that just came by, again, be very discreet. We do get, at the end of this is residential, so it's almost like a private road. So
Got it.
we will get a lot of that. But if the tour is going to come through, they normally come out of the ivy wall, because there's a set of stairs right before that garbage can, or they're going to come in the same way we did.
Okay.
Just so you have that idea. So this is Philadelphia Alley. It used to be called Dueler's Alley. Is that my bag? I don't have anything that jingles on my bag.
Yeah, you do. Big old
You
keys hanging
keys,
down.
don't you?
Oh, it's
My
jingling.
keys are way over here. I heard it on this side.
Yeah, you got something like that in here.
Yeah, but that's not gonna jingle.
Well, you're the one that stopped in front of the open gate, so. You're back to it.
So Dueler's Alley. We all tell the same story of the same duel. I'm going to give you a little bit more detail because you're ghost hunting, not campfire, cheesy marshmallow kind of ghost tour. So let's get into it. A doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. In the events, did you guys hear the song Brown-Eyed Girl while we're down here? It's not coincidence. It's part of his name. We get it all the time. So take that for what it is. Dr. Ladd moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She's an attorney, helping her out with all the cash flow that she just received. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. So he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. So he comes down here to Charleston to prove that he's not just after Amanda's money. On his way into town, somebody set him up to be robbed and killed, his coachman. It's kind of like having a really bad Uber driver. So somebody was walking by and seeing what was about to happen. His name was Ralph Isaacs. I stop on Ralph. He has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. I was getting RI all the time on Spirit Box recordings, so I bought a new device. It basically uses EMF, like Jennifer's device, but I call it a digital Ouija board. It's called an Envoy. Have you guys seen this thing yet? They're not really showing it on TV yet. It was just invented last year. But anyway, it goes over the alphabet. Anytime there's an EMF spike, it stops the cursor on that letter and drops it to a different row. And you can see if you get anything being spelled out for you, anagrams or initials. So I bought that to see if we can get the RI. I've had it for about 8 or 9 months, and I've gotten the RI whenever I brought up Ralph's name about half a dozen times in that 9 months. So take that for, actual stats. Back to Ralph. He tells the doctor, dude, I know this guy, the coachman. He's going to try to kill you. Come with me to 59 Church Street. You can rent a room from these friends of mine, and you'll be safe and good to go. Doc took him up on the offer. The two gentlemen are not friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point. He's not after Amanda's cash flow. So Amanda gets wind of this, and she's moving down so they can be married. Dr. Ladd became known as the Whistling Doctor. He whistled all the time. He's a happy, jovial guy. What I will tell you is that every haunted city you will ever visit in the future is going to have a cliched whistling ghost. We get tons of things about those whistles. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. Dr. Ladd and Ralph go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. So they talk about these plays on the way home. They go see Richard III one night from Shakespeare, and Dr. Ladd thought the new actress in town was great. Ralph did not. They start arguing, and then Ralph is insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. It got really ugly, and they went their separate ways. Ralph has friends in town. He went to the newspaper and placed an ad in a paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of bullshit, right? Doc saw the ad, rebutted with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. Somebody's going to die. Let me just remind you that all started over an actress kind of mentality. So they came down, they took their 10 paces away from each other. They turned, the doctor points his gun in the air and shot his one shot from his flintlock. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage to show up. But Ralph has his one bullet, and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Doc doesn't die, but he fell to the ground. His friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street, where he died 10 days later, on November 2nd of 1786, after refusing medical treatment. I'm going to point out 2 things. First off, well, 3 things actually. Today is what, the 7th? So that anniversary of his death was only 5 days ago. So we're pretty close. I was getting quite a few things about Dr. Ladd a couple of days ago on those investigations. The other thing, it's 1786. Gunshot wounds are a lot different than what we think of them now. And he's also a doctor. That's why he refused medical treatment. He probably just thought he had lead poisoning and tried to bleed it out himself, but he failed, because he died. So, every tour tells you to listen for those whistles. If you're going to try this on your own and walk all the way through here, I can't take you all the way through. I'm going to tell you why in just a moment, because I've actually been kicked out of here. That's the fun part of the story. I'm going to get to it. Yes. Use your voice recorders from your phones. Listen for the whistles in the background, because it is always this quiet. A busy Saturday afternoon, hustling, bustling around the city, the alley's always quiet. So if you hear a whistle, who knows? Keep in mind, every local knows the story. Anybody walking up and down Queen Street or Cumberland Street throws a whistle down the alley. I do it every single morning. Well, at least I used to. My office is over here. My old garage is that way. So I would always have to pass the alley in order to, just like everybody always looks down the same alley.
It's kind of hard not to, right?
I know. It's gorgeous.
Another tour.
It might be. But again, just kind of keep that in mind as you guys try that on your own. Let's talk about how I got booted out of here. That's the fun part. This will also show you how deep I take this research, because it's legit. So the alley didn't always come all the way through from the way we came in. There was a wall up there. The reason why is because this used to be called Cow Alley. This is where they kept the livestock. Cows and chickens are all down here. That means that the bricks on the other side of the alley are sun-dried bricks. They're older than the ones you're standing on. Those are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child at the end of this alley, along with fingerprint swipes and others. And I used to take people down there for the history piece. Nothing paranormal about it. It's just all about, because I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That's the last place you're going to find that kid. He's hanging out with his mama somewhere. So, November 26th of 2020, I took my entire group of 10 to go show off that brick. They're all huddled around it, waiting for something to happen. I'm trying to shoo them along, because I know nothing's going to happen. And secondly, it's right outside the kitchen window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I'm trying to be respectful, not realizing I was out of bounds. Yeah, the new owner of that mansion came out screaming. My daughter thought it was hysterical because her dad's getting yelled at, and we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't tour on Thanksgiving because I work for the biggest retailer in upper management, and you guys like to fight over towels. I don't work on Thanksgiving ever again in my life. So thank you all for running that. Sarah's like, damn. You fought over towels before, haven't you?
No.
Oh. You've seen them on YouTube, though, I'm sure. But anyway, so I work for Walmart, so I just don't do Thanksgiving. The next day was the 28th. I called my partner that I had at the time that brought me into tourism, and I told him what happened. He laughed at me too, just like my daughter did. He said, dude, you're only allowed to go down halfway. That's the cutoff mark for tours, because it's considered residential. So he said, you got to reroute your group. I rerouted my group, but I told them flat out, I don't believe in the next story simply because I've never had anything happen, and I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. So obviously we're discussing pirates next, if in case you haven't caught on to that. So before we left, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. I didn't tell them which pirate we were going to be diving into, the famous female pirate, Anne Bonny. So I was kind of like, all right, maybe we're going to get something. We go up and around the corner. Somebody else heard the number 300. How you doing, guys?
That's crazy.
So I don't know what that number is. Like, I wrote it down, so...
Ghosts?
Huh?
Are y'all listening for ghosts?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So the number 300, I have no idea what it means. I'll write it down. I researched it the next day. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. So it's kind of like all right, that's the exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial. I don't find that coincidental whatsoever. So I've been taking you guys back there. I was actually pissed off. Normally I get the reaction, I'm like, wow, that's really cool. I have a master's degree in creative writing. When I'm writing fiction or if I'm ghost hunting, I still need facts and data. Pirate stories came from pirate lore. That's my problem with it. It was written 100 years after the alleged occurrences. So I had to read a ton of books on pirates, something I wasn't truly interested in, to make sure like what we're doing over there on a 15 to 20 minute basis every single night is a legitimate thing. It is a fanciful story, of course, but it's going to come from a minimum of 2 resources of every statement that will come out of my mouth. We will be able to spread out like what we did at the Pinckney Mansion site, but keep in mind you may get things from this alley as well. The gate, I know you pointed it out already, but that's part of the reason why I stopped here exactly. The gate, I want you to remember that the alley didn't go all the way through this way, right? So if there's a loser to the duel down this way, this was the shortcut to get to the cemetery on the other side of this wall. Otherwise, they have to drag the loser, the dead guy, all the way down to Queen Street and double back to get up to St. Philip's to drop the body. So there's a courtyard on the other side of this, and of course St. Philip's Cemetery is all blocked in now. But back then they would have had a quick access just to go drop the body so they can go celebrate the winner. So the gate was probably put here in the early 1900s, but you can see that the archway is definitely part of the original wall. There's also rumor that Andrew Jackson actually had a duel down here. I find no proof of that whatsoever. And there's also rumor that all of the foliage along the right-hand side of the wall is to kind of hide the bullet-like shots that kind of went off to the side during some of the duels. And this is one of the locations where duels occurred because dueling was illegal in the 1700s. So they had to find hiding spots. This was one of those hiding spots. So that about covers it for this location. Hopefully you guys are going to get things from Dr. Lag when we go across the street, because we're just going to go up and make that loop, but we're going to be directly across the street. Like you can see where we're going to be from here, but there's only one way to get there. Any other numbers I need to know about? Anything about that 7? Okay.
Solid 0.
Anything crazy besides the 4 or 5 gents that just walked by?
Nope.
Okay. And you weren't listening, so crack them headphones on, let's go take a walk. We would never know. That's why I don't use this title. It's good for debunking.
Oh, it's my shadow.
I'll give them that. They just don't know what the hell they're doing as far as goes hunting. I shouldn't say that. I could have lied. I actually sent them my workbook just because my daughter was curious about it.
Yeah?
So, what'd you get along the way?
He Did Not Rise from the Dead, Constitution, Poker Face by Lady Gaga, and Family.
Family?
Nothing.
Nothing that Charleston a bunch of times.
Charleston's I throw away because you're listening.
I know, but like, there was just a lot of ads.
Do you want to know why you heard Constitution?
Because the Constitution was signed and was read from the steps on one of the time.
Actually, one of the signers is right across the street. We basically passed him on. He's buried in the same place. That's cool. So we get it here all the time. So let's see. And he did not rise from the dead. I'm just putting that one in there.
I fell on a religious channel. I heard that one.
I am actually excited about a 2.5 in this location, just so you know.
Okay.
Expect zeros, so if you get anything, I'm stoked. The closer you get to the corners, when we do spread out, we do have 2 electrical poles, and then we have the parking meters on the other side. So again, 3 to 7s, I'm going to probably rule them out if they come from the front half. The back half, I'm more stoked. We did get a couple of 11s and 12s here last week, so I was pretty I was like, holy shit, really? It's like one of the highest ratings I ever had here. Just kind of figuring out like what Sarah was looking at.
Oh, sorry.
Is there a ghost?
The stars, no.
Well, the staple there with the stars.
The
is
staple,
right
yeah.
Look, we should whip our cameras out. Be those girls. Picture.
Well, normally, like, if I have the larger groups and it's a full moon, it normally falls pretty close to St. Philip's steeple. So I'll stop over there and say, okay, everybody turn your phone's landscape. And I have to demonstrate what landscape means. And then I say, get your pictures, because that's probably one of the best shots you're going to have while you're here.
Very cool.
Every tour likes to come through here. They just discuss things a little bit differently than I do. We are going to be looking at the same building that they do. That is the Gunpowder Magazine. It is a museum now. It served in 7 different wars and 1 rebellion. What I like to point out is those are not crosses on the building. So, the crosses that you're looking at are earthquake bolts. If we were to have another earthquake like what we did in 1886, which we have not, they're basically turnbuckles. And you guys have seen them all over town in the shape of lion heads and pineapples and whatnot. You can turn the turnbuckles and it's supposed to tighten the building so it doesn't incur any further damage. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. Even this little apartment building behind it also has earthquake bolts on all 4 floors. You guys have just seen it. It's just part of our Charleston charm. It's just, again, it's there for shits and giggles. But that's the first set on the little building in the front because that's the first set Charleston ever put in because that's the oldest government building in South Carolina.
Oh, wow.
So we're here simply because Anne Bonny was coming here at the same time this building was being built. It's what I call a familiar. You guys know what a boo buddy is because you guys all watch the TV shows. That's the teddy bear with the little blinky light K2 meter in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they use that, and that's also a familiar because the child ghost that they're trying to get to interact would recognize the boo buddy as a toy. Think of that concept with the building for Anne Bonny. She would recognize it because we don't have any buildings from her era. That's why we're here. So that's kind of like the whole concept. Is it a roll of the dice if she'll be here or not? Yes. Simply because we do have other buildings in Charleston, but again, not many of them. So hope is that she's going to be here at the same time we are. Let's get into her history. The building took 10 years to build. Sorry, I'm going to make a joke about this, Chris, but this is the way I do every night. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years. So, again, I actually had an FBI agent on my group one night and didn't know it, and it kind of pissed them off. And I was kind of like, okay.
Everything is.
Our history begins right in the middle of the building's construction. So try to follow me. There's a few twists here. I will breeze through it so we can get back to work because Chris is getting antsy over here.
Yeah, you turned it down.
1708, a young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormac. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Are you with me so far?
Yep.
Okay, the 3 of them running away from her father's angry wife. How mad was the wife that she kicked him out of the damn country by boat? There's no planes yet, fellas, so be nice to your ladies. They'll kick you all the way up to Canada. Anyway, they land in Georgetown. That's between us and Myrtle Beach. Dad bought a plantation up there, and Mom died pretty quickly. That means Dad is now sending young Anne down here to Charlestown to sell things from that plantation to help keep things afloat. Hence the familiar building. Back home in Ireland, they say Anne was a badass even when she was a little girl. At the age of 7, 8, 9, remember it's pirate lore, none of the numbers are going to be exact. They say she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. Can't tell you how many times I've had servant, knife, and belly on 3 different communication devices, and nobody knows what the hell the other person has. Back to Anne Bonny. Now, 1713, the building is finished, but by 1715, pirates are starting to come through Charlestown. Anne is stoked. She's going to fall in love with one of these gents, so that way she can earn her freedom, just like a man. It's a man's world at this point. First guy she falls in love with, and I said first because there's a handful. That's what makes the story so damn interesting. First guy is James Bonny. You already know where this one's going. Dad didn't approve. He's a filthy pirate. They ran away to Jamaica. They got married. Anne Cormac became Anne Bonny. That's where her pirate name came from. However, when she gets down there, she realizes that her new husband is not the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer, which makes him a spy for the British. He's a coward. This isn't who she wanted. She falls in love again. Guy number 2. This is John Rackham. Everybody calls him Calico Jack. We're going to call him Jack through the rest of the story, just so you know. And this is the guy that they based your Johnny Depp character off of, in case you were wondering who this guy actually was. Calico Jack has his own ship. He has his own crew. You can't put a female on a pirate crew. Does anybody know why? I see the wheel spinning.
Obvious.
Thank you. I usually say keep it family friendly, but there's no kids here tonight. I wanted to see what answers you were going to give. It is bad luck. But Jack makes a deal with Anne. He says if you dress like the crew, you can be part of the crew. Just blend in. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. She gets it. It's a man's world. But we're all adults here. Let's put 2 and 2 together. She's a lady in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl. So Jack drops her off in Cuba. These are friends of mine. They'll help you with the pregnancy. Come back later. We'll figure it out. She goes and has the baby, returns without a baby. I have no idea what happened to this child. If you guys ask questions about that child, I can't prove it. You may just have a personal answer. So take that for what it's worth. I'm not going to count it as evidence. It's just personal to you. But she comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty angry. To make him even more pissed off, she's going to go flirting with the pirate crew he just captured. They're down below deck. We're on guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a male, to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females, dressed like males on the same ship. Her name, Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Anne and Mary became friends, possibly lovers. We're not going to really know for sure because of the time frame. But the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of ships to come take down one measly little pirate ship. Anne and Mary, rumor is that they were the only two pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with one bullet flintlocks because they don't know how to use cannons yet. So, obviously, two ladies with one bullet guns are not going to take on a whole fleet of ships. They get arrested. As they're being arrested, Anne looks at her captain, her beau, and says, "Jack, I'm so sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up in communication all the time. The judge wants to see the two quote-unquote men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and his drunken pirates that wouldn't fight. The two ladies go in front and reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves, and the judge does not give a shit that they are female. They're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. "We plead our bellies," was the last thing they shouted, because you cannot hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. He buys it, and he sends them both back to jail to delay the hanging until after their pregnancies. Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne and brings her home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4. We're going to count Mary because we don't really know. She has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. Very abrupt, because we can only make speculations about what happened to her after her pirate career. Mary Reed died 5 months later in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Most books will tell you that it was something simple like fever. I'm going to say let's make it romantic and call it scurvy. Why the hell not? We're talking pirates. Here's the things I left out. I'm not going to assign questions here. It's not a prominent English woman we need to tiptoe around. So again, you can ask whatever the hell you want to. I'm just going to give you a few things I left out on purpose so you had something to work with. The name of Anne Bonny's parents. That's the father and the mistress. I didn't tell you what their names were. I know what they are. I just didn't tell you. The name of Calico Jack's ship that Anne joined, because he had many ships. The city where Anne grew up in Ireland, and the color of Anne Bonny's hair. That's an easy one for people that are struggling with a spirit box. So that's a 1 syllable. You can guess and be correct that it is indeed red. So take that for what it's worth. Everything else is fair game. So again, you know the deal with your EMF. The ivy wall behind me is covered in leaves, so you definitely don't want to be filming the ivy wall behind me, because again, you'll have like a whole army full of men, and they'll all be waving at you. The other thing too, it will pick up all the contours and angles of the building itself. So remember, ghosts are not 50 feet tall. So again, I've caught things here that are unexplainable. So let's have some fun with this location. Let's see what we can do. Chris's answer to get back to work.
Let's ask questions.
Okay, I'll be your question asker.
Question asker.
Yeah. It's a...
We've actually caught somebody sitting on that garbage can, and then when I went over there, we actually had a slight EMF, and we were able to debunk it because I was able to walk around it.
Yeah.
Like make sure it wasn't things in the background, and we'd ask them for like things like, "Hey, can you swing your leg?" When we see that it's actually you, raise your left hand. Like we always ask specific things if we can't make out what is going on.
Okay. Hello. I just heard a lot about you, Ghost Pirate Lady. What was your dad's name? So that way I can prove something. Or what was the name of the ship? I heard you sailed a lot. Where did you sail to? Can you give me any name? Did you hear something? Can you tell me where I should be looking? Or, what was the color?
Ivy walls.
I'm not pointing at the ivy walls. Being a pirate, did you like to drink? What was your favorite drink? Did you like a good rum punch? You hearing any words?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's hard for me because I hear radio stations. Like, it's hard for me to separate.
Here.
What's that reflecting off of?
Is that you?
I think it's anchoring off of off the can.
Are you sitting over here?
Right? It's really hard to separate it.
What?
It's really hard to separate it. Like,
I heard bar. I heard best bar today.
see, look right here. Look. It's catching that window.
So I asked earlier, what was your favorite drink?
Okay.
Because she was a pirate, right? So I heard best bar ever, and then I heard moonshine.
Why the hell? Well, there's the big question, right? Why would you hear the word moonshine on a radio station?
Yeah.
So
I don't know, unless it was part of a song. I
But
don't
my
know.
point is, I don't believe in coincidence.
Yeah.
So
I heard, yeah, one thing said best bar ever, and then it said moonshine.
Yeah. The spirit box isn't ideal for me. Because
you
all
seem
I,
to be struggling a little bit with it.
well, because all I hear is recognizable things to me, and
Right, and
it doesn't seem.
That's part of the reason why I actually teach people to listen for that first. So that way it's not so much as a scare tactic. You have to imagine how many people that come to see me that, like, they're scared out of their wit. So I'm like, I'm going to give them a comfortable voice of something they're already familiar with. So if they can make those things out, again, I do this 7 nights a week. It's not coincidence of the things that we hear.
Oh, no, it's just it's hard. It doesn't, like, all I hear is things that I'm familiar with, and it just doesn't. You know,
Right.
it doesn't seem. I don't know. It doesn't register at all.
Okay.
I
Again, as a wordsmith,
yeah.
again, the word moonshine or best bar ever.
Oh no! I'm saying for me, I would have heard the commercial that was talking about, you know, apple moonshine, you know, that you get from the liquor store.
Right.
You know, that's what you know,
But
and
that's how your brain registers it instead
Yeah.
of looking outside the box.
so I had something. I'm sure it was anchoring on the trash can, but it was sitting on the trash can.
Okay. And you have a lot of contour over there. So you have obviously the little hut, the little trash
No,
can. the
yeah,
trash
that's what I
can,
mean. I think it was anchoring on it, but I don't know.
What we had before, because we had it from the side, and what happened was it looked like somebody was sitting on it, and their right leg was swinging left, like going
Well,
back and forth.
well, when you go back when you go back through, I mean,
Yeah. So what I did.
see right there, it's doing it again.
Yeah, that's definitely the garbage can. I can see the lines.
But it
of
was above it,
above it.
like it was like the waist was on that.
Nice. So I actually stood on the opposite side in its way on purpose to see if it was picking up something from the furthest background. Like
Well, I
the
know
tree.
it catches that light or that window. It keeps
Okay.
catching the window. So but from there you don't get the window. But when I was closer and that was in the background, like it kept registering the window and
Okay.
this pillar is. Yeah, I'm guessing the reflection from this lamp post makes it challenging. Yeah, I've done a lot of work with infrared, LiDAR, hyperspectral imaging.
Nice.
Did a lot of IR spectroscopy in general.
I actually just changed out the light for our IR camera. It we just had like one of those little 20 LED torch lamps.
Mhm.
I added a 49, and it already comes with 4 attached, so now we have 53 attached. So it actually takes away the one light flare that we had from the 20, because everybody was like thinking like that little crescent moon shape was like, oh my gosh, something's going across the screen. I'm like, no, it's moving with your hand. You're fine. But it seems like that the 49 one actually takes it out, which was really nice. So that was that was the hope of when I purchased it. But it's just way taller, so it sits in the bag for me. So the other one was nice and short and stout because it only had 20 going across. This one has 49 on a square. And it sits nice and tall.
Oh, yeah.
So I try to keep everything as compact as I can.
Wow.
I do bring a lot of gear.
No, it's even catching the shadow.
Oh yeah, absence of light.
Well, I mean, just looking for a pattern versus using LiDAR for depth and recognizing depth. I mean, so that's all algorithm work. That's purely algorithm work versus algorithm plus measuring depth with LiDAR.
What I find interesting is because with the IR camera that I use, you can see the spray of dots that it throws out.
Yeah.
So
that's what I find the most interesting with those, again, as a scientist, because so when it's registering this, right, the algorithm is looking for a pattern.
Right.
When you get the IR, when you get reflection from light that you're sending out through the connect or whatever, that's entirely different. It's looking for a response, but it's a physical response versus an optical response.
Interesting. Because when I talked to the developers, we did email quite a bit before I was like, let me add this on, because everybody wanted to try it. And they said it's always going to try to make it look like a person.
Yes,
so you have that
that's
idea.
what it's looking for. Yeah.
So he said, I want you to, get that concept that, a building could look like a person, a
Yeah.
sign can look like a person.
To a computer, yeah. Anything, it's looking for pattern recognition.
So what I noticed was when I did have things that I can't find where the pattern is coming from, that's where the 3 dots came into play. Like, does it have 3 dots or does it have a singular dot for the face, basically? So if I have 3 dots and it's in the middle of open nothing, like, it's definitely not in a space where it's on a tree. It's not going to have 3 points from a tree. So if somebody's leaning on the tree, I should only have singular dots.
Yeah.
That's kind of my concept. So when I see 3 on the face and it is in relativity to the distance between me and the tree,
Yeah.
then I know somebody's leaning against the tree and it's not the tree. That's kind of the point that I usually try to make. Those 3 points are a huge factor for me, because if there's no 3 points, I just keep going.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I always think like machine learning is really interesting, because human beings are you're made to look for patterns. It makes your thinking a lot easier. Machine learning does that without all the context of your life, and so it will see things that you just ignore because it's not part of it. It's not part of your learning. So there might be something that like Ents from Lord of the Rings. You will, Ents could be real, but you will never perceive that. You'll never perceive it because you're so used to seeing regular trees.
Right.
It's outside of your frame of reference. So they could literally be real, and you will never observe it. However, a machine who's never who doesn't care about trees would tell you that's not a normal tree.
It's an interesting point of view. I like it. And I guess that's probably why people find me odd, is because this is basically all I study now. It's all paranormal all the time. People try to send me videos, and I try debunking them. Like, no, that you in the reflection of the window taking the damn picture. It's not a ghost. Or they'll send me something from their Ring doorbell. I get stuff all the time. That's the signer of the Constitution that's buried across the street.
Okay. And then I keep getting love songs.
Well, we did talk about
Yeah, and I don't know if it was suggestion, but I swear before, when we were in the alleyway, I heard Brown Eye Girl, but I'm really bad with music in general.
I would want the lyric, not the...
No, but it was the song.
And I asked what the ship's name was, and I heard you don't know. That's all I heard. Yeah. Yeah.
coming through as well. And I don't search for things. You're going to see when you guys get your data back, it's 5, minute 10, minute 15.
Yeah.
I'm not searching for this shit. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
So I just happen to notice a pattern when there's those.
Yeah. So it was like liquor stuff in the beginning, and then switched to love stuff. And then I heard Philadelphia too in there. I think she liked the ladies.
So one of my Marines was named Mary Reed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was she a pirate?
She was not a pirate. Shadow. It really likes lampposts.
Anything else?
Yeah, your little person's just tiny.
You sure you don't want to tell me the name of your ship? Or the name of your father?
Who's the funny guy?
Away.
I'm going to prove a point here.
Lord.
Oh, the holy hour. We hit a religious station again, I guess.
Oh, really?
South Carolina.
Yeah. Did you get anything on that?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
I asked her what her favorite drink was, and I heard best bar ever, moonshine.
Oh, cool. That makes sense.
And then I heard a lot of love songs.
Aw.
Like,
Where's Jason to?
no,
Jason goes. Jason
no.
goes.
I heard the name Charles and then Philadelphia.
Yeah, we heard Charles. Yeah.
That's the sign of the Constitution.
Now, where we were the last time, we were saying love songs. The Lady Antebellum song was I Need You Now. Was a lyric you heard specifically.
Before we get into too much, I'm excited about the word Rogers showing up. You just heard Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, yeah.
Is that a sports person?
Yeah, football.
Okay,
Well,
I
quarterback.
don't follow sports, so I usually have to ask. But I don't find it coincidental that you heard the name Rogers. Calico Jack actually designed the Skull and Cross Swords flag for the Jolly Roger that we affiliate the Skull and Cross Bones with. It was actually Cross Swords. So I'm actually really excited about that. Because again, I see it all the time. I was explaining to Sarah that we get a lot of, female gendered phrases around here, and then as soon as I come back to find you guys, you hear a woman like that from Jesse's Girl. So again, that's the kind of stuff like where I'm like, you look for those themes and those kind of things that pop up all the time without giving you. That's why I withhold information on purpose. Like the Rogers thing, you guys want to put that together unless you really deep dove into pirates and see how this actually turns out. So I do have something I probably need to check out that was around that hut/trash can over there. It's probably going to be easily debunkable because
My guess.
yeah. Because again, we do get a lot of like gobbledygook over there, but one night we actually had somebody sitting on top and we asked them to kick their right leg. We got to kick up the right leg. I walked behind them and I blocked everything that was behind the hut, like in their view, so that way we can verify it. And we actually had somebody sitting over there. So I don't know if that was just one night that we had that. The other times we've gotten things over there, can easily debunk it, usually by things of the hut, the garbage cans themselves, the shape, the post from here across the street. You guys are getting the point. There's a lot that goes into it.
Have you ever had anybody feel emotional here?
Yes, a lot.
Yeah, I felt like I could cry over there when we were doing the thing.
I've had females that can't even enter the space before they even know where we're going.
Yeah.
Like they'll go, like we'll get to that corner over there, and I'm like, if we're going in there, I can't go in there. Their hearts are palpitating. The whole 9 yards. It's usually. The funny thing is I actually give you guys, I give that huge warning at the top of our night, and it's because of this space. 2 years ago, month of September, I took my group to the back like I always do to stay out of the other tours way. And the kid next to me, I got a group of 10 in front of me. He's starting to faint, like he's passing out on me. So he's probably 21, 22 years old. I had to pick this guy up by his armpit so he doesn't hit his head on the ground. So his boyfriend picked him up from the other side of him. We brought him over here. They sat down. I got him some water from the vending machine. Everything's all good. They wanted me to continue. So instead of calling paramedics, they said, go ahead and go. This used to be the last stop. So I told the story of Ann Bonnie, told everybody to spread out, have a good time. Last stop. These two guys pull me aside and say, Nick, we have to tell you, we are 2 transgender males. I had 2 females dressed like males, just like Ann and Mary in the story on the tour.
Wow.
So it made sense, but still unexplainable. So that's why I give those huge warnings. Those EMF readings you had back at Pinckney Mansion site, if there was an actual psychic medium among us, they wouldn't be making it. Like their heads are pounding, they're getting weird messaging. Like I can't tell you how many times I've had to call the paramedics to come and get them. It's happened dozens of times in the 4 years I've been doing this. So take that for what it is. I know, not very happy stories, but there's a reason why I give you guys, it's not a scare factor, it's a legitimate thing.
Yeah.
Let's cover the answers for Ann Bonnie, and then I'll explain the next 2 stops. The last one will be our Estes method, but I bought a new device last week that we're going to be testing out. I'm actually going to have Chris test it out because I think he'll find it very interesting, just based on what we've been kind of talking about. We're going to be doing a straight EVP session without, we're going to keep this voice recorder running, but the new voice recorder I have is a multi-channel. So he's going to basically hear a frog fart from 3 blocks away. So if we're going to get a voice that's going to come through, he'll be the one to hear it. I'm only going to tell you what I know about the space, which isn't much because it's the one I'm investigating to be into my 2024. So we're only going to spend about 5 to 8 minutes there, and then our Estes method places really close by. So we'll kind of see what's going on with that. So Sarah's obviously doing way better than you, Chris, with the spirit box. So she's definitely going to hang on to that thing.
Let a woman do the work. It's fine.
I'm okay with that one.
Well, I make the joke that normally the husbands will do better because they have selective hearing.
No, I channeled in with this chick here. We're good. Talked about drinking. We're good.
Had a little love chat, talking about our bows. One of the few pictures you can find of Ann Bonnie where she actually has a shirt on. The reason I say that is because she used to bare her breast to show men that they were just killed by a woman. If you remember, she's wearing male pirate garb, so she has to flash them and say, haha, you were just killed by a girl just before they die. And I do get teenage boys on this tour. I don't need angry moms leaving. So this is the portrait that I show of her. And I know it's a painting, but you guys get the point. Obviously, her hair color is red. She's from Cork, Ireland. That would have been the name of the city if anybody else was looking for that. And the names of her parents, William Cormac, Mary Brennan. This was not another subliminal trick with the Mary. We just happen to have 2 in the story. Mary Brennan was a servant for the Cormac family. Now you can assume and be correct on how Dad met Mom. So kind of put all that piece together. It's a whole nother 30-minute scandal. We just don't need to cover it. Calico Jack. I also like to show you what they based Johnny Depp off of, because for some, it's pretty damn hysterical. Calico Jack was named that because of the jackets that he wore. It came from the British captains that he killed. His father was a tailor, so textiles were important to the Rackham family. Calico Jack basically translates to fancy jacket. Depending on which pirate book you're reading, they will also say that that's where fancy pants comes from. God, I hate a loud tour guide. That drives me crazy. Did I say that out loud? I sure as hell did, didn't I?
Not loud enough.
Apparently. But the name of Jack's ship was the Kingston. I don't actually expect the word Kingston to come through the spirit boxes we're using tonight, because again, we're using radio chatter mostly. The word king would actually suffice here. It's kind of like a what color is the big red barn mentality. So I do have another spirit box that does pick up more disembodied voices. So with that one, possibly. Have I had Kingston come through on it yet? No, but King and Kingston are both answers that we don't hear very often. It just gives you something else to kind of focus on. Even though, like, we did get the word Rogers, like, I'm actually excited about that. This is me excited, everybody. I'm not Zach Bagans. I'm not going to pound the wall and scream demons are here. So, did I say that out loud too?
Yeah.
So again, we're going to be using this new Zoom recorder, the multi-channel recorder at the next location. So you're basically just going to sit there and listen.
Okay.
And again, you're going to be like, holy cow. I don't know if you've ever used a multi-channel voice recorder before, but it's pretty intense. I just put it this way, when I tested it at home, I can hear every drop hitting the sink as my wife was doing the dishes. Like, it's that clear and concise. And you guys will get the full recording back. So even if he doesn't hear anything in real time, that's one thing I've actually learned. I'm going to listen to the whole thing because it's only like 5 to 10 minutes long. So I'm going to listen to everything and then give you if I find any markers in it. The last location, so again, I'm pretty sure you already figured out that you're going to be blindfolded. So he's like that. I'm volunteering for that one. And then Sarah, I think I'm going to give you the virtual reality piece. So I think you'll find that one interesting just because of, it's not going to be so much in your face, but it is an interesting tool to use. So I think this will be, and again, I'm going to need you to film, Chris. So, I mean, we filmed the whole thing because he's not going to know what the hell's happening. Because he's going to be blindfolded.
We're all gonna leave you and blindfold you.
I know, right?
An hour later, you're like, we're ready to go.
He'll be sleeping through war. He'll be
And
fine.
we have gotten triple-digit readings during these sessions in the past. So I'm going to kind of keep you in
We're
play as
sitting at a
well.
1 around here, but there's 0 over there, so I'm guessing it's a
Oh,
1.
yeah.
I did give her that little Ouija board device as well to kind of like toy around with. So
We're still
Ooh.
on Jay.
still on
We're
Jay.
still in jail.
That's cool.
Let's get your sensitivity turned up then. There you go. So
I don't know, JV football
JV,
team, right?
I know, right? University. So we're gonna be walking up about 2.5 blocks. Who was at the Mills House?
We are.
We are.
So we're gonna be walking 1 block past it.
Okay.
And definitely listen in on your spirit boxes along the way. You get the point of filming along the way.
Yep.
Let's go listen on the screen at home by accident. So it's kind of like it's not too.
sensitive.
So this is we're going to record about 10 minutes or so, and I'm basically just going to tell you what I know about this murder mystery, because that's what I was hoping to add, was a full-blown murder mystery, to see if we can actually come up with any answers and maybe turn things over. So, but
Aren't the camera pointed at us? Am I... Right?
is he pointing at us?
The camera is.
On
On the tripod. Right?
Oh, I didn't even see the tripod stand.
No, I'm just wondering what they're recording.
It's almost like it's filming this building.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well. What was that beep? It says every time it beeps, it's another letter.
It's another
So
letter.
it's just replacing them now. It filled up the letter.
Is it like Scrabble?
Kind of,
Okay.
but for anagrams.
Yeah,
Exactly.
see?
Oh, that would...
Yeah, so now we restarted.
Yep, whenever you get a full row, reset. Turn it off and turn it back on.
Green button?
Yep, green button, counterclockwise, click it, turn it back on till 1 o'clock. So you should be able to hear me pretty clearly on there. So, as
I
a,
can hear their radio.
like you should be able to tell what song it is.
Yeah. Well, I don't know the
It's
song,
Billie
but I can...
Eilish.
Billie Eilish,
Yeah.
Well, the sensitivity of those microphones is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
So this is the reason why we're here. So again, I always like to give you the reason why I chose a space. There was a murder mystery that happened, or a murder that happened in 1933, 2 blocks from here. It is out of bounds for tours. The only reason I chose this spot specifically is, first off, this is as close as I can get, and the woman that was murdered is buried in that graveyard right over here. So we're kind of like in that triangular effect, and I'm hoping that we're going to be able to make some kind of connection. Here's how it goes. Woman's walking somewhere, I don't know from where to where, but all of a sudden she falls to the ground and starts basically screaming out that she's in pain. Somebody drove by and seen that there was a woman laying on the ground. and basically asked her what was going on. She just said, "I'm in pain. A man hit me." That's all she said. He rushed her into the car and took her to the hospital. That was basically St. Roper's, where MUSC is now. So I'm not familiar if you know like all the ins and outs of our city, but probably a good 3 or 4 miles from here. He takes her to the hospital, and her doctor doesn't know what's going on either. His name is Dr. Avery Finger. Her nurse was Nurse Glasscock. I'm only giving you these names in hopes that something's going to trigger something somehow. I don't know what it's going to be yet. But she dies right on their table. They don't know why. They go to the autopsy, and she had basically a scrape going underneath her arm, and then they notice a bullet hole in between her ribs. And they found a special 38 caliber, excuse me for not knowing guns and bullets, I'm just not into that, but it was some kind of special 38 bullet that was lodged, and it basically got lodged in her heart, and she died. Nobody knows who shot her or why. Things that have been triggering around this, I've noticed from the Estes method, because we're going to be going into this park to do the Estes method, that blindfold test. And we've actually had a pretty close portrait of this woman. Her name was Mary Ravenel. She was married to a guy named John Ravenel. The Ravenel family is very prominent here, in case you're obviously not familiar. But that giant bridge you guys come in from Mount Pleasant, that's the Ravenel Bridge. So that kind of gives you a ring of who I'm actually after here. But Mary Ravenel, jewelry was intact, nothing was stolen. But I think it was 5 years after, 1938, hurricane hit and basically tore the whole city apart. And they found in a filing cabinet a gun with bullets that takes the exact same type of caliber bullet that Mary was shot with. Can they blame that person? Not necessarily. They kind of left it open as this was an accident and nobody knows why or how she died. So, with that, jewelry was intact. I've gotten things like pearl necklace, I've had things show up, said my jewelry left alone, those kind of things will pop up. I don't know who shot her. So I've been relying on you guys for the past 4 or 5 times that I've done this. What kind of questions should we be asking? What do you have? What do you think? What do we want to know?
Who shot you?
Okay. The last group wanted specifics. They said, "Did you see who shot you? Can you describe them?" And the person with the spirit box who wasn't really paying attention to what I was saying just said, "Look at him, his eyes." We were getting almost descriptive pieces. Nothing super descriptive, but enough to say it was almost a response. So we kind of took it at face value because there was a lot there. So, do you think this would be a good spot where we can actually make contact with her? We got some when we went across the street to the graveyard. Again, same type of mentality. It was almost conversational. Have you heard any voices besides ours at this point?
No, but I hear every car it's on driving on my face.
It's supposed to be intense. That's the point.
You'd want to ask her what she was wearing. You already know some things.
I know she had jewelry on.
Yeah. You don't want yes or no questions, but I would want to know, was she facing away?
Well,
Did she
Where were
have
you
her-
going?
Yeah, were your arms
Where were you
up
coming
or-
from?
Like that.
Well, not that one because it ends with a preposition.
Love my husband.
So you chose them on purpose.
We all got quiet on that one. We're like,
Just saying, if you're gonna ask questions, ask it, in English.
Mary, whatever you want to tell us, we will take it. I like the question of what you were wearing, because that's probably something I can find out.
what room was she in?
She was outdoors. Or what, hospital room? Is that what you
I
mean?
guess I was asking what room was she in?
She was walking
got
outdoors.
shot just walking.
Yep. Because again, remember, somebody drove by and seen her on the ground. Did you hear something?
Swear I heard something right before you spoke.
He turned because he thought it was coming from a direction. He can hear directional pieces. It's almost like listening to one of those 8D YouTube videos. Do you know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. That's relatively close to what he's getting. Now I only have 2 mics on there, but he can almost look to see if it's
Little
coming from
kid
that.
laughing.
He's got a little kid laughing.
Took off for a minute. No, yep. Took off for a minute.
That's when you want to keep listening.
It didn't back off. This was when a cat ball went off in the cemetery we were in.
Yeah, you stay there.
Little kid was laughing. Just put your earbuds back on.
Sarah, you got anything?
No, I'm getting like Caribbean music.
Fair.
They're filming something.
There's a person walking by.
Oh.
We keep an eye out for you. No worries. We got you.
saw the camera. I told you.
Their footsteps are super loud.
See things happen.
Who was around her when she got shot?
I think I read one account where she was actually walking with a friend, and it was the friend and whoever the driver was.
8-9.
I have a pee. And it licks.
Corporate.
What's your timer look like on it? Can you see it?
Is it? I don't see anything going.
Rolling.
I mean,
Without the flashing head.
First.
We missed whatever you thought you had then. Damn it.
first. Need to ask more questions.
Yeah. Mary, we missed whoever said something. If you could say it again, we would like to know what you were wearing. We wanted to know who you were with.
Again. Just me.
Who you were with, just me.
Cry.
Can you tell us what happened to you? I know that that's a rhetoric yes/no question, but
Audio. 1045.
I didn't hear Phil Collins.
Holiday. Black and yellow, black and yellow.
what was she wearing?
Number. Color number.
Like a lot of references to walking, like Vanessa Carlton. No, what's her name? That's her name. 10,000 miles. Yeah, piano. Yeah, that's come on a couple of times.
Okay.
If you were
Nobel
shot,
Prize winner.
if you were shot when you were alone, at what point did you meet up with your friend?
Yeah. It's almost positive the report. The police report said she was walking with a friend.
Love will find you. Hound dog.
What?
Maxwell.
I have a PXB.
Is somebody else talking?
Why was it?
Woman of there's a woman's voice in between.
Radio.
It looks like he's had his camera running this entire time too. So if there was some kind of noise, because of it, maybe hopefully
Say
capture
my name. Say my name. Destiny's Child.
Mary Ravenel.
You said Democrat.
She's a prominent person. I just don't know that her political preference would have been a thing.
I saw the sign and it opened up my eyes. That's all. Face to face.
Nice face.
PXB though. Since we've been here.
I want you to be happier.
What would make you happier?
I saw the sign again.
It's gonna make its rounds.
Imaginary woman.
K. When you said that.
Heaven.
I got a K. A K?
Just what I needed.
Mary, I'd like to know more about this jewelry because it keeps popping up. If you could tell us what
Voiced
type of
unwavering support.
What type of jewelry were you wearing? The reason why the jewelry is important is because she still had it on her, which means she wasn't robbed. So that was the
That's
deduction.
why somebody thinks it's a love.
I hope you're safe.
And it's serious. I'm telling you, that thing's intense.
Mary, what color were your pearls?
First to find you.
Who was the first to find you?
Limited time only.
What do you got now?
Oh no, it's just
Trying to figure out where the sound's coming from.
because it's really loud.
Got a P.
Dude had like a boom box on his bike.
Rock and roll. Open up my eyes.
Yep, same thing.
Sarah, anything? I think it's fair to say we can wrap this up. Not a whole lot going on. Yep, just hit that.
The heart left
That's
something.
actually this guy.
So at 2 minutes, it was a female voice.
Okay.
That
Alright, so Chris and Sarah, have a seat. I'm going to take your spirit box because we're not going to use yours here.
Okay.
So I'll take that from you. I'm going to definitely take your voice recorder simply because I don't want you hearing the history of the space because I'm going to take this Chris and Jennifer over to that monument and give them the history. But I am going to give you guys the gear that we're going to be using.
Okay.
The only thing I ask is you don't put it on right away, because if I'm blindfolding people in a dark park, it never looks good when people are walking by, especially if the damn TV news station is over there. Like, what the hell's that weirdo doing?
Probably what that was. Now that we saw the light.
So I'm excited that you think you may have heard something. So, and again, I only cut that one short because I'm still learning about it. I don't want to make it a big focus for the night. This is how I keep going. Everything that we've talked about tonight, guys, came from another tour, just so you kind of know how I put this all together. It's all things that we've caught in the past from other tours. Yeah, do I do the research and validate it? I do. But it just goes to show you, like, it's not like coming out of a textbook. It's me piecing things together to then put the story together to talk about like what we've actually caught. Why is that going off?
What is that?
That's like your guys' spirit box. Only I use an adjustable noise control to keep the white noise down. Interesting. But anyway, let me put this away, and then I will take Chris and Jennifer and teach them about the history. And then you two are going to sit here and be dusties for 5 minutes. Noise canceling headphones. I'm going to sit on the bench over here. So Jennifer, you're going to put those on Chris once he gets blindfolded.
Don't do it too much.
You're going to be using this.
Okay.
I'm going to put my phone in there when we come back. And then, Chris, you're going to get a disposable blindfold. You can keep your own eye boogers. I'm also going to hand you some earbuds. So I'll need those headphones. So turn your volume down before you unplug it.
Alright, turn now.
Oh. If you can figure out this origami project, kudos to you. If not, I'll help you when I get back. But I'll give you those. Sorry, again, the headphones are new for me. I've been testing those out instead of just handing out earbuds to everybody.
And I don't like earbuds, so.
Well, if I get, we'll just say older folks that can't
Yeah.
put those kind of things in their ears,
Yeah.
it's like unproductive. So But earbuds are a necessity, and I don't want those back either.
Okay.
Earwax is gross, man. You can keep your own
Yeah.
souvenir.
Yeah. So it goes into your ear.
All right, so, and then Chris, you'll be filming this whole thing when we come back,
Okay.
just so you know, because they're not going to know the history. I'll know that I'm never going to touch either one of you. So that's what I'm going to touch. It's going to be from your spouses. Am I assuming that everybody you guys are married? Is that what I'm got going on here?
Yeah.
Don't want to admit it, like.
I said
So.
yeah. She didn't say yeah.
Oh,
my
no.
God.
Chris, take off the box. So, because you won't be able to hear me when we're done, she's going to tap you on the leg. That means take off your own gear. Not to take it off. So, if you're talking too loud, which that might be a problem, you're going to pay attention to what's things throughout our leg. She's going to tap you on the shoulder. Just means quiet down a little bit. You're on your knees. We don't want to piss anybody off. So, obviously, Sarah, you're going to be able to hear the full conversation. So, again, when I say go ahead and peel that thing off your face, peel it off your face with it.
Okay.
I'm going to keep you under for 10 minutes only. If anything goes awry, like somebody starts hyperventilating, or I've seen people in seizures with this, because again, sensory deprivation, it can be a thing. So we are going to stay pretty close and tight, just so you know. I know there's nobody out here, but I thought I told like come in here, all the damn news people I think I know this. Like, hey, what's going on? Not that I just hold it on the news or in the newspaper, but you get my point. I like to keep everything nice and close and tight. So, Chris, you're also going to be telling me yes, no answers, only because you don't know what the question is. I might have to go to them right now for that verification that's okay. If they're here with us. So I'm expecting you to say yes. So kind of keep that in mind. You're just going to give us a brief description of all of the pictures that you see. You might get 1, you might get 0, you might get 10. You never know. I think the max we've had during a 10-minute session is I think it was 11 or 12. So the average is about 4. So this will be my phone. So if my wife is sending you dirty pictures, just let us know what the hell they are. And I wasn't sure if this whole thing was going to work out. It actually, I have to buy a separate phone just to put in there now.
Okay.
So I'm not using my own every single night. But once you get started is when I basically hit the timer. So you're going to have to jump in there and help out with those noise canceling headphones. So you have to blindfold, earbuds, then she's going to put the noise canceling headphones over. So go ahead and start doing this stuff. There you can, okay. Start this real quick. Slide this in there.
So it just like generates random photos?
Random based off the magnetometer of the phone.
Okay.
So, and it's going to basically just translate it into odd images.
Okay.
This is about 40 to 42% accurate. It's more accurate than what he's doing.
Okay.
I measure all these results. So what he's doing is about 30 to 35% accurate. This has been about 42.
Okay.
If anything, it's just more fun than anything else, and it kind of gives us a nice little visual if we can get it. Yeah, they're pretty tight. And you're going to see just a gray smoke, like rolling gray smoke in here. So Sarah, you're just going to tell us everything that's not gray smoke that looks like that. We do have a focus right here, so if things are cool, just turn it either way. So I'm just slide that in there for you, and you can peel it over your head. All right. So that was 11, 12.
I see a necklace.
Already. Oh,
I see a necklace that has a face on it. Yeah.
What's the face on?
It keeps shifting. Like,
It's general.
okay. It almost looks like a baby. It's got black
At the
feet.
end of 10 minutes? No, you should like shift to like one of the roller coaster VR things. So
11 black feet.
so
and a large.
you instantly feel like you're.
Oh, 11.
I think it'd be hilarious.
11
Did I
and
tell
then
you the
1.
date of the murder?
No.
You're a,
Can you remind him to talk to us?
you're a,
What was the amount?
Make sure you
Talk to us.
talk to us.
Okay, yeah. Sorry. I didn't hear anything. Yeah, I got you.
I just see gray smoke.
Okay. All right, Henry, you are here. We want something simple to begin with. Let's just talk about your occupation. If you can give us something about your occupation. If you're
Call us.
not, I'm going to rot in here because we see a full necklace in here. Give us your first name, please, so we know who we're speaking with.
Realism.
Henry.
Wife.
We're looking to speak with
stupid questions.
Apparently they're stupid questions. What sound did we just hear out of the church? We've had the word bells spelled out on that when I've asked that before.
I had an F since we started.
Turn up the sensitivity.
That way.
What sound did we just hear out of the church? Henry.
Well, what are we getting?
Not a C, thankfully.
Wendy's. Charlie.
Can you tell us the name of your wife? Did you say the
Light or shadow.
You missed that one.
Lighter shadow?
Let's get you guys moving tighter so you can help me hear it. He's trying to be quiet at this point because I told him to shut up.
It can get loud.
Love.
Do we want to talk about your wife? That's a yes or no question.
Knowledge.
If Mary is here, can you tell us how you passed away? That would verify that you
It's
were here.
freaking out because the goggles are on her head.
Yeah.
New.
Yeah. You're the new ghost that I'm trying to investigate here. I'm trying to help you out.
Recovering.
Henry or Mary, you need to verify.
Oh, I don't know what that fire. I'm seeing fire.
Is that a question?
It's just really good, like when it shows up and you see it. It looks like, yeah, it looks. I just see flames.
So no buildings.
No buildings.
rooms.
It's just like a black
Watch.
rectangle with flames.
Notification.
So you can't like tell time.
No.
776.
You mind if I take a picture of this?
It's your night.
Sarah, are you good?
Yeah, I'm pretty.
Last night intended killer.
Oh, tended.
Memory.
I like it. Like you're gonna be able to identify her with that thing on her face.
Okay, still asking.
I might leave it on her.
What am I going to ask? Is that the word intended killer? Does that mean Mary's here? That's yes or no. Mary, we're
Time.
trying to learn more about you.
She is.
Did you guys hear what I asked about that pearl necklace earlier?
Mm-hmm.
About the 11? She counted out the pearls. There was 11 pearls and one
9
pendant.
5.
11 and 1. That murder happened on November 1st of 1933.
Chris, you're messing up.
Are you serious? Put your shit stuck in me. Get your shit straight, man.
Apparently.
Told you it would end up being funny.
Could you imagine?
Oh wait. Oh, I'm seeing. Oh, what is this? It's like. I don't know what this is.
Headphones.
And that's what he said.
Headphones.
Goodwill.
Goodwill.
It's like
Say yes.
a pile of. It's like a. What is this? Is this jewelry? It looks like jewelry laying on the ground, maybe, with a green
Do you
emblem.
want-
A green stone.
Emerald?
Emerald. Thank you.
I've got an E before you said emerald.
That's what it looks like, but it looks like it's like fallen on the ground, like the chains
Yes.
all mixed up.
Okay. Whose jewelry is this that we're seeing right now? We need a name. It's too jumbled on who actually might be here. We got intended killer. We have the wife, his pearls, and jewelry that's showing up.
disappeared.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like
Truth.
truth.
Song.
I would like to find truth for either one of these people. Henry Timrod, Mary Avenel.
On Earth. Location. Offer.
Why? I'm getting a letter every time he said a word there. A, G, and H. K.
You need my help.
Okay. Tell us what you need us to know. Mary, can you tell us the name of your killer?
If Keep going. Run.
I'm not running anywhere.
5-7. Founded. Living perfect order. I love you the best that I can.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
And I got an L as soon as that one
Set it
happened.
off.
We've been on there about 6 minutes, just so you guys know. Henry or Mary, can't really decipher who's actually here. But we're running out of time. We only do this for 10 minutes. It can be a little much for us to be underneath these kind of gizmos. You need to give us some definitive clues as to who's actually here, because I'm still on the fence.
3-4-3. Perfect.
WCDIRDK.
I can tell you.
Henry Timrod, tell us something specific about your occupation or your wife's name.
Policy.
I'll take either one of those kind of answers.
Players in agreement.
Henry, you can always show us one of the tools that you had to use.
CEV.
Henry,
Gone wrong.
Henry, do you want us to go home? Would you like it for me to leave you alone?
CEVO.
Yeah.
God. And she said,
CEVOJ.
12 o'clock. The next day. Don't treat. Crossover.
Henry, is somebody else here with you?
The first.
The first. I got an M.
Guys, I heard somebody talking. Well, I turned.
Interception.
Must have been
Booted.
interception.
I didn't hear it, but I was also reading.
Yeah.
Ouija board.
I heard like a male. Henry or Mary, we're gonna wrap this up. Can you tell us good night? I don't care which one does it.
Breathe.
Henry, come on.
Gift.
Or Mary, wrapping up. Either one of you tell us good night. We're gonna wrap this up. Don't have a whole lot of proof. You may have just been struggling tonight. Maybe I just haven't seen the pictures you've given us yet to see all the clues.
Go home.
Go home. Okay, let's have them out.
2373.
You got another picture coming
Two
through, Sarah?
numbers, three
No.
words.
Okay, go ahead and fill
Two
it out.
numbers, 3 words.
Don't get up to shit. I can make sure you guys are okay before you start walking around.
They gave you numbers?
You gotta tap this.
Yeah, he said 2 numbers, 3 words.
Two numbers, 3 words.
Now, do you see those images that it showed? Like,
I'm
that
gonna
it
show
saved
them
it?
all to you right now.
Okay,
Yep.
because I
And
couldn't describe the one. I didn't know how to describe
Go ahead
it.
and stop your video. Kind of give it a